Good day, everyone. I am Micaela Fernandez from the Group 3. So today I am going to discuss the Lesson 2 from Module 10. The topic that I'm going to discuss is all about social responsibility. Social responsibility means that individuals and companies have a duty to act in the best interest of their environment and society as a whole. In general, social responsibility is more effective when a company takes it on voluntarily as opposed to being required by the government to do so through regulation. Social responsibility is an ethical framework and suggests that an individual has an obligation to work and cooperate with other individuals and organizations for the benefit of the community that will inherit the world said individual leaves behind. In social responsibility has four levels. So this is the four levels of social responsibility. Social responsibility is defined as the duty of business to do no harm to society. As I mentioned earlier, social responsibility has four levels. Economics or the responsibility of the business to be profitable. The responsibility to meet the legal obligations. Businesses must comply with the law and regulations. Companies has a responsibility to act ethically and morally and to choose the action that causes the least, if any, harm. And finally, philanthropic is the idea that businesses should give back either in time, money, or goods to the community in which they serve. People used to believe that the relationship between social responsibility and the community was an inverse one, where if companies benefited society, it came at economic cost to them. Recent research has pointed out that in fact creating shared value actually benefits both parties and not a cost to one or the other. ISR or individual social responsibility refers to our awareness of how our actions affect the community as a whole. ISR can include volunteering time, giving money, and standing up for issues that affect the rights of others. That's all. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I'm Jose Bantahan in behalf of Group 3 and I will continue to discuss the last part of Lesson 2 from Module 10. So now, let's proceed to the topic which is social policies. Social policies is concerned with the way societies across the world meets human needs for society, education, work, health and well-being. In other words, social policy is a plan or action of government or institutional agencies which aim to improve or reform society. Social policies may be also described as an action that that affects the well-being of members of a society through shaping the distribution of the access and goods and resources in that society. And the last part of social policies on retirement. So from the word retirement, it means retirement refers to place behind. The traditional retirement age is 65 in the United States and most other development countries, many of which have some kind of national pension or benefits system in place to supplement retirees' incomes. So that's all. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I'm Karim Nikinto. I'm going to present environmental sustainability. To the extent that an organization operation and action protect means and preserve rather than harm or destroy the natural environment. Strategies of companies are scrutinized and evaluated from a natural environment perspective. Employees, consumer, government, and society are resentful of firms that harm rather than other protect the natural environment. Business must not exploit and decimate the natural environment. People today are appreciative of firms that conserves and preserves nature. Consumer interest in businesses preserving nature's ecological balance in high. This chapter illustrates how many firms are gaining competitive advantage by the being good stewards. 2. What is sustainability report? It reveals how firms in operation impact the natural environment. These reports are good, not required, but are good business practice. It is good business for a business to provide a sustainability report annually to the public. Walmart monitor not only prices its vendors offers the product but also their social responsibility and environmental practices. The Global Reporting Initiative recently issued a set of detailed reporting guidelines. Lack of standard changing. Making a claim that a product or a process is green is becoming more difficult as standards are put into place. Lack of standard changing. A few years ago, firms could get away with placing green terminology on their product. Today, such terms carry much more specific connotation and expectation. Lack of standard once made consumer cynically about corporate environmental claims. Now, those claims are increasingly being challenged in courts. Obama regulation. New clean technology businesses start up. Solar, wind, biofuel, insulation. Obama regulation. Obama administration imposing strict regulation requiring firms to conserve energy. Federal government buildings are being repeated with energy efficient improvements. Venture capitalists and lenders are funding new clean technology business startups. Clean technology investment totaled 8.4 billion in 2008, up to 40% from 2007.
Good day everyone. I'm Maria Concepcion C. de los Santos, and I will discuss the managing environmental affairs in the firms. Managers must formulate strategies that preserve and conserve natural resources and control pollution. Environmental strategies could include developing or acquiring green businesses, divesting or altering environment damaging business, managing a safe health of the planet. Matters requires an understanding of how international trade, competitiveness, and global resources are connected. Firms increasingly are developing green product lines that are biodegradable and or made from recycled products. Many companies are moving environmental affairs from the staff side of the line side. Next, student and environmental training. Companies refer to high graduates with training in environmental issues. Business students with limited knowledge on environmental issues may make poor decisions. So, business schools should address environmental issues more. Failure to do so could result in graduates making inappropriate business decisions. Now, let's proceed the reason why firms should be green. Consumer demand, public opinion, environmental advocacy groups, federal and state environmental regulations, lenders, consumers, suppliers, distribution, and inventors, liability, suit and fines. The amount of energy the company uses is reduced when they go green, which means that waste is reduced and companies get an improved supply chain management system. It also allows business to adopt new technologies to increase productivity with cost reduced it could allow the business to grow and remain sustainable. Next, be proactive, not reactive. Proactive. Do more than the bare minimum. Reactive. Changing only when forced to by the law or consumer pressure. Proactive and not reactive. More firms are becoming environmentally proactive in their efforts to preserve the environment. New recurred diesel technology has reduced emission by up to 98% in all new big trucks. Next, electric car networks. Government funding for manufacturing. Recharging station being installed in many cities. Extensive research and development within the auto industry. Companies are replacing gasoline-powered vehicles with hybrid electric natural gas vehicles. Electric car networks are coming. The company Better Place is building a network of electric car recharging stations in San Francisco area. The company has already built such network in Denmark, Israel, and Australia. Expectations are for the US other countries to switch to electric cars over the next 10 years. Last, March 2009, Copenhagen meeting, scientists warned that global warming is worse than expected. Companies and governments encouraged to vigorously implement strategies to cut greenhouse gases. Kyoto Protocol expired in 2012. Result if March 2009. Copenhagen meeting are expected to replace the Kyoto Protocol. More than 2,000 scientists warned that global warming is worse than expected. By the end of the century, sea levels will rise at least 20 inches and possibly as much as 39 inches. The Kyoto Protocols expired in 2012, and the result of this Copenhagen meeting are expected to replace it.
Good day everyone, I'm Albert Jan Muñez from BSE 3D. Today I will discuss the content of a marketing research paper. First, title page. This includes the title of the market research paper, which must be of course about the research itself. This will tell its readers on what is the research focus and will discuss even when they haven't read it wholly. Then we can also see in this page the subtitle, author, publisher, and volume. However, this depends on what is being asked and to whom it will be presented. Also, in an actual market research paper, the title page includes the names, title, firm, and contact information of the person who authorized and directed the project for the client or contact information of the people who prepared the research and the release date of the research. Moving on, another content of a market research paper is the approval sheet. From the term itself, we can get its meaning. This part will serve as a proof that the researchers have met all the requirements, thus they completed the research paper. Next is acknowledgement, wherein it usually comes after the table of contents, and its content is about the research gratitude to everyone who helped and assisted them. However, we should avoid excessive, expressive language and must be careful on who should be thanked and in what sequence. Next, to present to you our table of contents and their introduction, here is Mr. Gohar. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. John Albert Muñez. By the way, I'm John Lloyd de Gohar. And the next topic is Table of Content. Table of Content are organized under headings that identify topics in the document. By default, Word has 4 levels of headings in its gallery, but more can be added as needed. The aim of the table of content It provides users with a high-level overview of a document, content, and structure. It lets user to jump right to a certain section of an online document, although an enlarged table of content that provide a more detailed perspective of a complex text. Next is introduction. An introduction is a beginning section which state the purpose and goals of the following writing. This is generally followed by the body and conclusion. The introduction typically describes the scope of the document and gives a brief explanation or summary of a document. And that's all. Thank you.
Good day everyone. Here's the continuous report of Group 3, which entitled Marketing Plan, Scope and Limitation. Before we go to our report, let me know first what marketing plans means. A marketing plan is a detailed roadmap that outlines all your marketing strategies, tactics, activities, costs and projected result over a period of time. Meaning to say, it gives your entire team focus on specific goals as a critical resource for your entire company. Going back to the topic, scope and limitation. It's critical to understand primary and secondary data resources, as well as their breadth and constraint. In order to handle suitable information, the researcher collected primary data with the clear goal of addressing the study question. A survey can collect data on attitudes, opinions, viewpoints, and satisfaction level in a market geographical region by following a subset of the population. Why is it important to have scope and limitation? The scope and limitation are very important to the nature of your study, as your study begins with your problem statement and purpose statement. How do you create a scope and limitations? You will need to clearly define what you intend to study as well as what you do not. Be very specific in both areas for your reader to clearly understand your intent on both levels. Limitation, by contrast, are what elements will affect the ability for your study to generalize the result.
The next topic is all about primary data and secondary data. Observation, which is an activity of a living entity such as human and consists of acquiring information of the outside world through the senses, or the recording of data using scientific instrument, might be used to collect primary data. An advantage of using primary data is that researchers are collecting information for the specific purposes of their study. On the other hand, secondary data is information obtained for purposes other than the topic at hand. As defined below, a book is a section of a work of literature. Following that, all financial data from a journal voucher associated with day-to-day business transaction in separate ledger account is recorded and transmitted to the firm's control account. An advantage of secondary sources provide a variety of expert perspective and insights. Let's move on to the last topic of Lesson 2, which is the methods of data collection and analysis, time frame, and constraints encountered. First, methods of data collection and analysis. Explain how the study's data was acquired and processed. The procedures for data collection and analysis detail how the study's data was acquired and processed. This is a necessary component of any type of research effort. Based on the definition, it enables a person or organization to answer relevant questions, evaluate outcomes, and make predictions about future probabilities and trends. Second is time frame. A timetable is a group of time periods that encompass certain events or when particular things are predicted to happen. The duration of a time frame can range from seconds to millennia. Let me note the importance of time frame in conducting research. Choosing a specific time frame for your research can result in more precise findings than working with an open-ended time frame. And lastly, constraints encountered. Constraints is a component or a subsystem that acts as a bottleneck. It prevents an entity, project, or system such as a manufacturing or decision-making process from reaching its full potential or obtaining a greater level of output in relation to its aim.